Beautiful, beautiful. That is fierce living for sure. Thank you, Rory. Thank you to our Spiritually Free Band. Good morning, everyone. Thanks for being in the room because I know there's a lot of people out of town, but here we are devoted to this community and being in oneness together. So Linda mentioned it that tomorrow is Memorial Day, and I just wanted to start off with just a moment of silence so that we can remember all those that gave their life for our freedom. So I invite you to close your eyes just for a moment. And also, if you're a relative of someone that gave their life for our freedom, I just want to honor your sacrifice as well. So thank you for being with us today. So, dissolving into the one. It occurred to me that I need to start off and kind of tell you what I think that means, because that might mean different things to different people. So the first thing I wanted to say is that it's realizing that our individual self is an illusion. That's the illusion that we live in, because there's only one. If we're living within oneness, our individual selves are part of that one. So there's no boundaries between other people and ourselves. There's no boundaries between our country and other countries. There's no boundaries between Mother Earth and the other planets. There's no boundaries because there's only one. If you really dive into this, you can find a deep peace in the infinite, of knowing that there is only one. Hopefully, it's a personal experience for all of us to feel this oneness. And that's what I really want to talk about today, because I've had that experience. Do I walk around in that experience all the time, 24/7? No. However, since I've had that experience and felt it, it informs my life, and it makes me return over and over to my devoted spiritual practice so that I can know the truth of who I am, who we are. Many, many religions and philosophies, the highest goal for a soul is to reunite with the one. We're already united. We're already here. That's part of that illusion that we live in, that we have to reunite. No, we don't have to pass on to the next realm to reunite. We are already the one here. Even when we're cranky, even when we're grieving, even when we're going through stuff, even when we're watching politics on TV, even when we're having challenges with health or finances, we're always the one, interconnected. So dissolving into the one means surrendering or transcending the separate self-ego and merging with a higher, more unified reality, whether you call it God, consciousness, the cosmos, the universe, whatever you call it. Think of this. Think of being at the ocean and seeing a wave. The wave is not separate from the ocean. It is the ocean in its own form. We are the cosmos. We are the one in the form that we show up here. From our book of the month, Wild Mercy, Living the Fierce and Tender Wisdom of the Women Mystics. Boundaries can shut out the Holy One and trap us inside an illusionary experience of separation. What about this? Let the margins melt. The way of the mystic is the way of surrender, of dying to the false self, to be reborn as the true self, the God self, the radiant, divine being we actually are. Just sit with that for a moment. The radiant divine beings that we actually are. It's not the old self, the personality, the ego, the stories we tell about our lives that is bad or wrong. It's that when we recognize the essential emptiness of our individual identity in light of the glorious gift of our interconnectedness with the One, independence becomes much less compelling. And that's the path of the feminine, the path of connection. I know how us women can be, and men too, where we want to be fiercely, fiercely independent. But what's that saying? If there's only one thing happening here, we rely on our family, our friends, to get us through the hurdles and challenges in life. Or we notice a friend or a relative that is going through something different in their life, and we extend a hand out and say, let me help you through this. So I had a personal experience that I have mentioned during teaching classes, where my awareness of my interconnectedness with the One was so heightened that I go back to that experience over and over again. It's a reminder for me of the truth of who I am. And let me set it up. I was at a Dr. Sue Mortar event, and we were in Cancun, Mexico. Beautiful place. I know, it's rough. The rough part was waking up at 4:30 in the morning to get down to the beach by 5, because that's when we started our meditation. And then at 6 a.m. we did our yoga right on the beach. So there I was. It was maybe the third day of the event. Got my towel, marched down to the beach, sat down, and this amazing sunrise was happening. And we went into meditation together as a group. And something happened for me. As I was sitting there in meditation, I no longer could determine where my self started or ended, and where the waves and the sand started and ended. I merged into the One. I sat there in this meditation, overwhelmed. I didn't try to label it. I didn't try to make it keep going. I just sat with it. I was very, very still. So what happened was it touched a state in me where myself fell away. My personality self. And by the way, at a Dr. Sue Morter event, she doesn't call ego ego. She calls it the protective personality. Because that's what it is. That's what ego does. It thinks that it's protecting us. Ooh, shut down, that person's coming your way. Or go this way, not that way. Or it tries to protect us. So I never diss my ego. It's here for me, to protect me. But I fondly phrased the term, my pee-pee. When I recognize that it's my pee-pee talking to me and not my higher self, it's like, oh, I got you. I hear what's going on here. So I am so grateful that I had that experience because I could feel it. See, normally in life, we perceive ourselves as separate. Right? I don't live in Linda's body or Carl's body. I live in this body. So I think of myself as this separate entity, this separate spirit. And the truth is that we are all sharing cells and atoms. We are all sharing the air that we breathe. We're all sharing everything. We are always interconnected. And that, my friends, is what drives me to do my best to not to judge another, because I don't know what they're going through. And if I throw a judgment on someone for what's out picturing in their life, what am I doing? I'm judging myself. I have a family member that's going through a hard time. He's incarcerated. And one of my cousins, who is a therapist and social worker, she said, "Oh, he's never going to change." And I'm like, I don't accept that, because I know who he is. Yes, he made mistakes. He made bad decisions over and over until he got caught. But that's not who he is. That separate entity of him that made those mistakes is not who he is. He's a being of light. He is love in form. He's magnificent. So I'm the one in the family that has said, we are here to love him for exactly where he's at. It doesn't mean we have to like what he did or the decisions that he made, but we get to love him and know who he is as a being of light. When our self-sense dissolves into nothingness, it's actually wholeness. Another experience that I had when I was going through a divorce, and we were together for 14 years, was I had this moment again in a spiritual community where I thought, I don't know who I am. I don't know who I am as an individual and not as this couple. And it scared the bejesus out of me. Until I realized, oh, wait a second. This thing that happened is helping me know who I am. Who I am as an interconnected light. A powerful being that's here with a purpose, with a passion, with a calling. See, if that divorce never happened, I wouldn't be standing here. Because I wasn't going to do ministerial school with this former. I needed to meet Bren. And tell her, this is who I am. This is what I'm up to. She said day one if you didn't hear it. That's our first date. Oh, I'm going to be a minister. Right? So if that's the thing about life and these challenges, these things that we'd rather just bypass and keep every day happy, right? But these things are the opening, are the breaking opening so that we can be who we're meant to be. Here's a quote from Intimate Conversations with the Divine from Carolyn Mace. I always say Miss. I've been told Mace. The great spiritual masters emphasize the mystical truth that all is one. The truth cannot be grasped intellectually. We cannot comprehend the mystical truth of being interconnected with all sentient beings. We can only make the choice to live as if it were the truth and observe whether somehow the choice gradually influences the quality of our life for the better. This is something you can't make happen intellectually. This is something that you get to experience. That's why we have the Wednesday experience. That's why we have other presenters come in and do workshops. That's why it's great to do the book study and go to retreats and things like that, because you have to have these experiences. So how do we get there? So dissolving the ego into the divine is not about destroying who we are. It doesn't mean that I won't have these stories that I get to think of and jumpstart my life from. Divorces happen. I've gotten laid off from jobs. I've had losses in my life. I've had people in my life go through challenging things. This is what gets me there. It's about seeing not just who we are, but seeing who we're not. Right? We are not that ego voice in our head. That's a part of us that we get to embrace, but we're not the protective personality. We are so much more than that. So the journey is really one of uncovering the truth and not adding, not looking for, which was us humans do. I just look at my bookshelf. Right? Look at all those spiritual and self-help books. What am I looking for? Guess what? It's right here, folks. It's right here. It's always here. It's who we are. So here's a list of some ways to uncover and awaken to our true selves. First of all, practicing the presence. Awareness. Awareness in everything that you do. Single mind focus. I have a tendency to multitask. And if I'm out in the world or I'm doing something around the house, usually if I'm doing a few things at a time and I've got something in my mind and yet I'm trying to do something else, I'll end up bumping my toe or falling down or doing something, and I'm like, okay, single mind focusedness. I need to practice the presence. I need to be here with what I'm doing. Be still. I need to be still and know who I am. When I'm walking the dogs, I want to be walking the dogs. Especially because I have to watch them carefully because I might want to snarfle up something nasty on the ground, right? So I want to be focused. I want to be in the moment with them. The next one is witness the ego or the protective personality. Don't fight it. We also call it around here witness consciousness. Eckhart Tolle says, you are not the voice in your head, you are the awareness that hears it. We're not the voices in our head. We are the awareness that hears it. That's powerful. I've had many moments where I felt like I was kind of out of my body and I witnessed myself not acting the way I really wanted to show up in the world. And I was able to just catch it in that moment and say, cancel, erase, that's not how I want to show up. It takes practice, though, to do that. It can be done. The next one is, of course, we talk about this all the time. We offer it here on Sunday mornings. We offer it on Wednesdays. Meditation. Meditation is a great way to drop that separate identity. Because the quieter you become, the more you can hear, is what Ram Dass said. The quieter you become, the more you can hear. So again, for those of you that say, I'm not good at meditation, it's okay. Sometimes my meditation is so quiet and still, and sometimes it is so noisy and rambunctious. The point is that I make sure that I do it. Do it every day, even if it's for 2 minutes, 5 minutes, 20 minutes, an hour. Whatever works for your lifestyle, but make it a daily practice. The next thing is to surrender. Surrender. Let go of control. Rick's not liking that one. Because the ego or our protective personality wants to control, wants certainty, wants that identity. Like when I had the divorce, I didn't know who I was as a single person. I only knew who I was as a couple. Who am I? Who am I? That's a great question to ask yourself. Who are you? Who am I? The self, the essential self of me, my divine self, always trusts what's happening in my life. It knows how to go with the flow, even if the human me is feeling like I'd rather this not be happening. My divine self knows that this is for me. Whatever's put in my path is for me. The next one is to serve and love without expectation. I look around the room and I see some beautiful hearts of service here that show up week after week that make this place run. You might not see them up here, but they're out there making sure that we look good, sound good, making sure that the seats are set up right, making sure that the website looks great, making sure that we've got flyers, making sure all these things are happening. So those are wonderful servants, and they don't do it expecting a thank you, although I want to say thank you all the time, how grateful I am. But when I do an act of kindness, I don't want it to come from my ego, so I don't want to be necessarily out in front of a crowd saying, look at what she did. I think it's a lot of fun to go to a market and notice like maybe a younger person with a small child and just kind of scoot in there and pay their bill. Now, I don't know what their means are, if they are abundant or not, but a lot of times when I've done that, I try to like skedaddle so they can't thank me. I just want to help them. So do it as a silent act of service. Not saying that, the acts of service we do where we say thank you are bad or wrong. No, but you want to take advantage of those moments where you can do something and not get acknowledged for it, so that your essential self, your higher self, is like being fulfilled in that particular way. Finally, this is a tough one too, Rick. Accept everything, resist nothing. Yeah. Accept when I'm having a bad time. Accept when I feel like things could be so much better. Accept everything and resist nothing. Because if you're not accepting it, you're resisting it. And if you're resisting it, it's persisting. Because that's the way the universe works. It's one of those laws. What you resist will persist. Because we're putting our attention on it. So if you can just find a place, you don't have to like it, just say, yes, this is what's happening. So it makes me think of, I'm just kind of getting over this hip thing, lower back, whatever it was. It's so much better. I'm about 80-90% better than I was. So it's been about a week or so. And at first I was really resisting it. And it was by me asking for help, getting to my chiropractor, getting some body work. And after I did all that, it seemed to flare up and get worse. And then all of a sudden I woke up the other morning and I got out of bed and I was like, oh my God, I think I'm better. So I accepted what it was. I wasn't resisting it anymore. And it just went away on its own. Again, from our book of the month. Sometimes it appears as if it is only when we are most radically shattered that the boundless grace of divine love comes pouring in. Loss is that fire that takes down everything extraneous, including our cherished beliefs. We must be stripped of all our opinions on the matter if we hope to have a naked encounter with the truth of divine love. Our inhalation is both the necessary and the sufficient condition for the privilege of union with the source of divine love. I want to finish with this. We are already what we are seeking. We are already what we are seeking. When we dissolve into oneness, we don't disappear. We come into the truth of who we are. Let's pray. Just taking in a deep breath. So grateful for this breath, so grateful for these lungs, so grateful for this community that has been here well over 50 years. So grateful for this divine love known as Salt Lake Center for Spiritual Living. So grateful to dissolve into oneness, to accept, to let go of, to surrender. So grateful for meditation and mindfulness, awareness. So grateful. Grateful to know that there is only one power, one presence. It doesn't matter what we call it, whether it's God, Allah, Jehovah, Hashem, Mohammed, the way, universe, life force, love, energy, spirit. Yet only one. And this oneness is in and through everything, every moment of every day. Omnipotent, omnipresent, omnipotent, omniscient, omniconsciousness, omni-love, omni-awareness. Everywhere, every moment of every day. even when we forget. Even in the challenging times. Even when we're cranky. There's only one thing happening here. I call it God, God, and only God. That is the truth with the capital T. And knowing that is true, I claim and know that for myself, I get to be the outpicturing of the one as my divine spark. Through my words, through my heart, through my acts of kindness, through everything that is laid upon my life. And I know the same truth for everyone within earshot of this prayer, that you and me and we are here as the spark of the divine, the one. We are the one. We are the ones we have been seeking. We are here now and forevermore. Always present and never absent is this oneness. So I know as we settle into this and have our experiences of oneness, that we bring that oneness into everything happening into our lives. Whether it's noticing a loved one that's going through changes, getting our own diagnoses, having our own challenges, whether it's physically, emotionally, spiritually, within relationships, within jobs, within our finances, that there's only one thing, and that is God, God, and only God, and that's what is providing the way. So as we surrender into the truth of who we are, the magnificence of who we are, the light of who we are, the love of who we are, it dissolves what no longer serves us. It dissolves that egotistical way of showing up that is thinking that, no, I've got to get the goodies first, into I get to serve from my heart. I get to receive. I get to acknowledge. I get to accept what is happening, so that what no longer is me dissolves away, so I can be bigger, brighter, more magnificent in how I show up in this world. I claim this, and I know it for all of us in this room. I claim it and know it for our planet and all its sentient beings. I claim it and know it for all our beautiful, beloved animals. I claim it and know it for this Mother Earth that we get to live on. I claim and know it for all those places and spaces that feel other than love, where it feels like they're at warring constantly, trying to create more and more boundaries. As we let our boundaries go, boundaries of the heart, we get to know this for each other. So in this moment, go ahead and say your name either silently or out loud, and the names of your beloveds that are wanting and needing a prayer today. Cindy, Rose, Anna, Michael, my beloved community, Gordon, yes, yes. This prayer field we have created together is fertile. Now's the time. There's no request that's too small or no request that's too large. Because I am grateful to know and thankful to know that prayers are always answered. They're heard, they're received and responded to, sometimes in an instant, and sometimes slowly over time. But I'm grateful to know it always works. It's already done. So as we surrender together into this divine love, as we dissolve into oneness together, there's nothing left to do but to just let it go. Let it be. And say with me, and so it is. Amen. Ashe.